Hello and welcome back. In our last video, we saw how to write a script using command expansion and parameter expansion. In this video, we're going to look at writing a script that utilizes arithmetic expansion, and then we're going to add a few new skills on top of that. First, let's head over to our scripts folder. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. And we're going to create a new script and we'll call it numbers. So we'll say nano numbers. And we'll start with our shebang, give the location of the interpreter, bin/bash. And let's put a comment here. And so we'll say this script is going to add two numbers given by the user and log the result. So we're going to log the result into maybe a text file here. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to call echo to ask the user for a number. And we're going to use the environment variable user to access the user's actual name, okay? So we'll say echo, and I'll use parameter expansion, so user, please enter a number. All right, wonderful. So before we go any further, let's just exit out of this. So I'll close and exit. And let's change the permissions of this file. So we're going to do, right now, right, it's just read write for me, and then read and read for all other users. Let's give permissions across the board. So we'll do chmod 777 numbers. All right, so I should be able to execute this now. And I am. It says, Mike, please enter a number. So perfect. This seems to be working. What we now want to be able to do is find a way to let the user type in a number into this script. So let's go to nano. And in order to do that, we're going to learn about a new command. It's called the read command. And so we're going to type read, and then I'll say num a. And what the read command is going to do is previously we've echoed, Mike, please enter a number. And now it's going to wait for input to come in from the keyboard. And when input does come in and we hit enter, it's going to read that input and it's going to store it in a variable called num a. And so hopefully this will work. And let's just test it. We'll say echo $num a. We'll give you that parameter expansion right here. So let's see, let's close it and let's run the script. Please enter a number, 15. And it printed 15 back, so that's really nice. Although I don't like how I'm prompted to enter my number on a new line here. Really, I'd like to enter it up here. I think it would look a lot nicer. So let's look at Echo's help documentation. Oh, yeah, it echoed help. That's funny. So we'll check out the manual for this. If we look here, there's an option, the TAC-N option, do not output the trailing new line. What that's going to do is it's going to keep us on the same line at the end of an echo statement instead of putting us on a new line. So we're going to use this option, I think, in our script. So let's go and add it. So right here we'll do echo TAC-N, and then we have our prompt. So let's just see if that works. So I'm going to save this, and we'll run numbers. And it looks like it does, right? So here I am on this line. I can enter in a number, and we're getting that value back. So we are effectively grabbing information from the user now. Oh, this is excellent. So let's build on this. So we'll say nano numbers, and I don't need this line anymore because we know that this is working. This read statement is working. Let's grab our second number. Let's grab another number. So now I'll say echo TAC-N, and we'll say user, comma, please enter a second number. All right, and I'm going to read the second number now. So I'll say read, and I'll call this num b. Wonderful. So now that we have these two numbers, let's create a new variable. We'll call it sum, and we want to add these two variables together. So in order to add them, I'm going to want to use arithmetic expansion. So I have a $ with two sets of parentheses now, and inside the parentheses, I'm going to put my math. And so inside here, I'm going to say num A plus num B. And we saw in previous videos inside of arithmetic expansion, white spaces don't matter, and we also don't have to perform the parameter expansion. I guess maybe I could do it. It's not going to make a difference. And maybe it's a little bit more readable if I do it that way. So why don't I leave it? I don't know if that's the best practice, though. I'm just putting that out there. I do think it's a little bit more readable for beginners that are trying to get a feel for what's going on, so I'm going to leave it in here. And so now that we have that, we want to echo a statement about the sum. So we'll say echo the sum of, we'll do parameter expansion to get num A, and we'll do parameter expansion to get num B, is, and then we'll do parameter expansion to get the value of our sum. And we'll close that. I think so far this should work pretty nicely. Let's save this and exit, and let's see what's happening. So if I call numbers, enter a number, 10 and 15, it says the sum of 10 and 15 is 25. Hey, I think that's good math, right? Let's try it again. Let's try it with negative numbers. Negative 9 and 3. The sum of negative 9 and 3 is negative 6. Perfect. So everything here so far is working really well. There's one last thing that I'd like to do. Let's take this one step further. Let's store this result in a file called addition.log. And so we want to log some information about maybe how this script was run, when it was run, who it was run by. And so we want the log file to contain the user's ID info. So if I type ID, we get a bunch of info here, the date. So I get a lot of info here, and then the result of the script, right? The sum that was created. So let's go to our script, nano numbers, and we're going to come all the way down here, and maybe I'll put a comment. I'll say log file, log script usage information. So first, let's just echo what we want this file to contain. So I'm going to say echo, I want to have it contain the ID command, and I'm going to separate everything by colons, we'll say, and then I want it to contain the date command, and then I want it to contain our sum variable. So let's just see how this looks. So I want to see what this is going to look like. 5 and 4. All right, the sum of 5 and 4 is 9. So there's our ID command. Here is our date command. And then there is our sum. Okay, but I think I only want the date. I don't think I want the time or anything like that. So if we look at the date file, the help file, date tech help, it looks like there's some nice formatting options here. Date option and then plus sign format, and you can see we've got lots of different format options. And the percentage sign D, I think, is just going to give us what we want, the date as month, day, and year. It's going to give us a nicely formatted date. So if I type date plus percentage sign D, yeah, that's kind of what I want. That looks a lot better. So we're going to use that instead. So let's go to nano numbers. And I'm going to do date and my command here plus percentage sign D. Now that we have that, let's redirect this output. We're going to redirect this into a new file and to a text file called addition.log. So we'll say into addition.log. And let's see what happens. And I'm using, well, I guess I got ahead of myself. Let me walk through this. So I'm going to redirect it. I'll use a single redirection operator. And if I call numbers, right now there's just the script numbers. So if I call numbers and I say 1 and 2, okay, and now if I look, I've got a file, addition.log. If I cat it, looks like I've got information about the user who used it. I've got the date, and I have the sum that was created. So that's pretty cool. But watch what happens if I call the script again. So let's call .numbers 4488. All right, we get our sum 132. addition.log is still there. If I cat addition.log, it looks like I've overwritten the previous value. Not really good for a log file. You want to keep a track of this, all of the history. And so one of the ways that we can fix this is if we go back to our script, nano numbers, I only have one of these redirection operators, and that is essentially says overwrite this file with this information. If I use two of these, so instead of one I have two, this now says append this information to the end of this file. And so we're going to keep that other information there. So that's really nice. That's what we want. I'm going to save this. And so now if I cat out addition.log, we see that right there. But if I, let's say, run this again, and I do 1 and negative 99, I get that value of negative 98. So if I cat out addition.log, I now see that we have two entries into this log. Perfect. Now, if we run this script, we see we have both logs, which is awesome. Now, we want to try to put this log in a better place, right? Right now, it's just going into whatever directory the script is in. I'm going to move this script, hopefully, to the user local bin. I don't want the log file to go there. So we've mentioned a location before for logs. It is cd root var log. But these logs are like system-wide logs. And in fact, if we tried to use this as our destination, I think we're going to get denied. And so maybe we don't want to write to this location because this is just a script for us. It's something small. Why don't we stay out of the system-wide log files? And instead, let's just send our log file to our user's home directory. So root home Mike. And so that's where we want this. I actually think this is stored in a nice environment variable. If we look here, if we go to the env, we have a home directory for any user that is currently running, and it is right here, home. And so we're going to use this environment variable. So let's go to nano numbers. Oh, I'm not in the right directory. CD, where am I? I got to figure out where I am. Oh, there. CD scripts, nano numbers. And so down here, when we create the log file, we're going to add to the path here. We're going to start by doing $home / addition.log. And now we should note here, we saw that if I do just $home, it's going to do the expansion. I think it's good practice to have this inside of quotes because that will prevent any of those special characters from acting. And maybe I should probably put some inside double quotes to prevent any of those special characters from operating. It could just give us an issue, an unforeseen issue that we don't want to deal with. So putting double quotes around your parameter expansion often will kind of fix that. So now let's save this. And if I run numbers now, please enter a number 44 and 55. All right. And so if I go back to my home directory, I should have a file. I do, addition.log. If I cat it, it looks like we're storing that information. So this is wonderful. Let's move this script. It's working the way I want to. Let's move numbers to, oh, and I need sudo privileges. Let me clear the screen to bring this up. Sudo move numbers to our user local bin directory. All right. I can remove this addition log file. So we're empty here. Now, if I run this script, no matter where I am, so I should be able to call numbers. It's going to prompt me. Negative 15, 55. Awesome. Sum is 40. If I go check my log file, which is on my home directory, I should have that entry now. And I do. Perfect. So we're keeping track of how this script is being used. So in this video, we learned about the read command. We saw how we could redirect output into files, and we got a better look at arithmetic expansion. I will see you in the next video.